Hey, Bayek, it's me, and in today's video, we're going to continue, yes, this look at Carry On films. Yes, this is Carry On Nurse from 1959. This was the second one following Carry On Sergeant from 1958. This film was the one that really cemented the success that this series of films was going to have. And it's interesting to look at it, and you can see why the success of the whole series of films in many ways came from this. Carry On Sergeant had been successful, but this kind of brought it even more success, and as I say, cemented its place in this whole series of films that people came to really love, which is the whole Carry On films. And it's great to see when you actually watch this, and you can see why that is so. This is 86 minutes long, so standard time. If you look on Rotten Tomatoes, they wrote down 55%, which I think reflects aspects of the critics' reactions over the years. I mean, it could be worse, a lot worse, but it's interesting just looking at the critics, particularly at the time, how they viewed this. But the public, as usual, they went and loved it. It's written by Norman Hudis, and it's based on a play, Ring for Catty, and this was by Patrick Cargill and Jack Beale. Patrick Cargill, you may remember, became a massive TV favourite with Father Dear Father. There's all that sort of comedy side to this. A lot of people always describe Carry On films having the history of farce to some extent. The farce tradition in English comedy, and it certainly does have that, definitely, in it. It's a unique British humour, if you want to call it that. It just works so well here. It's directed, as usual, by Gerald Thomas, who's going to direct them all. And it's produced, of course, by Peter Rogers. He was, again, the great foundation of all these films. The belief in these films and the way they organised it and got it working so well is just tremendous, really. The cast is interesting because it brought people from Carry On Sergeant back, and then there were new ones added. So I think it's fair to say that Shirley Eaton returns again. She plays Staff Nurse Denton, and she is great. She's just so lovely, you know, the way she plays the part. It's interesting also, she was pregnant, like, in this film as well. I know she's seen, as say, in the iconic Goldfinger scene, the painted gold lady, but I think she works well. She's just got that wonderful, appealing smile, and the way she looks, she really is a star in this. You can't help but just think that. Then we've got, and I think he's absolutely brilliant again, Kenneth Connor. He plays Bernie Bishop. He's this boxer we remember him in Carry On Sergeant, and again in this, he's just so funny. He's great. I love Kenneth Connor. You can't help but love the way he portrays the character. He's just great. Then Kenneth Williams, again in many ways playing a similar part to what he did in Carry On Sergeant. He's a sort of academic kind of educated man with his books. He plays Oliver Reckitt, and he's great again. You just can't help but smile. Then again, we've got Charles Hawtrey playing Humphrey Hinton, and he always has this sort of zany, campy kind of style. He's just potty. He's great in this. Plays it beautifully. Then we've got the wonderful Hattie Jakes. She plays the matron. The matron who people fear, but as underneath that you can see a heart of gold. But it's just it's wonderful watching her. She's so good, Hattie Jakes as a matron. Then there's the return of Terence Longdon. He plays Ted York. He's the journalist, and he's good. He also appeared in Carry On Sergeant. And then the next, Bill Owen, Percy Hickson, he appears, and he's good as well. You know, as I say, he became more famous with Last of Summer Wine, playing Compo, but he's here and he's good. He's good. And then we get to the newer cast members, and they bring in a real well-known, seasoned comedy veteran. When I say veteran, yeah, he still had a massive career in front of him, as well as before him, and that is Wilfred Hyde-White. He was one of those British actors that you saw in so many comedy films going right back. And here he is playing the Colonel, and the Colonel is a great character. He's just wonderful. You can't help but love how the Colonel's there with annoying everybody, pressing the button all the time, and it's wonderful. I always think when I see him, it's interesting in sort of very latter stages of his career. He appeared in a lot of TV things. He's in Buck Rogers, of all things. The Buck Rogers TV series of 1981 goes right up there. Then we've got Leslie Phillips. I mean, Leslie Phillips, he's a real just comedy icon. He plays Jack Bell. And one of the earliest lines, he goes, ding dong, in that suave, I'm not very good at that, in that suave way that he just, he's just wonderful. You can't help but love Leslie Phillips. Then we've got, and I think she's absolutely superb in this, the comedy of Joan Sims, playing the student nurse Dawson. She's just fantastic. I love her, how she's just in all the comedy. Oh, she's great. She's really great. And there are a lot of others as well in the cast, but I won't go through them all. But I think it's maybe just worth pointing out June Whitfield. Not a very big role, but she's in there as Meg. And June Whitfield was to become such a massive comedy actress. So many roles she played. And of course, she became an established television sort of star with Terry Scott in Terry and June, and then even carried on into even loads more work. Her career is just amazing. If you have a look at June Whitfield's career, it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing she was. So that is my sort of look at the cast. It's filmed in Pinewood Studios again. Obviously, everything's set up, and it was made on a budget of £71,000, and that year it was the top grossing film. Yes, in 1959 in the UK, and then worldwide, what it made was $2.8 million. Yeah, in America, it was successful. I mean, this is great. Low-budget films doing well, even in America. I mean, how they understood some of the comedy is amazing. Now, the comedy is developing very much in this innuendo way as well, and you've got that there. But it's perhaps something that develops more explicitly because, again, the censors are still hanging over certain areas of comedy. It's interesting that the last scene in the film is interesting, that it did. I think they may have been worried about that getting through censors at the time for the certificate it gets. But it's all there. It's just one. If you love Carry On films, you just love it. It's set in this surgical ward of this fictional office hospital, Haven Hospital, it's called. And that's where all these various patients, the characters we meet, are all in there for various reasons. And the story develops, and it just goes by. It's what I mean. It's one of these easy films. Like, you can see why it's so popular, and people have watched these films like this. These black and white Carry On films are great. You know, they're wonderful. I absolutely adore them, you know, when you actually see them. And it's so good, you know, that people can still enjoy them. I think, you know, some people say, oh, it's a bit dodgy and, you know, it's not nowadays. But I don't think, you know, it should matter because it's timeless. It really is. It's timeless stuff. And you've still got that look at our society, the snobbery as well. It brings out. It laughs. The British way of laughing at itself is fantastic. It's funny, it's laughing at itself. And then the very people, some of these snobby critics at the time, were really looking down on films like this. And yet they're part of the joke, you know. It's great. I mean, this is so full of talented actors and actresses. They just make everything so warm, so funny. So it's just funny, and it's great to see. Say when you look at this, you can see why it was so successful and why it would carry on being like this. And obviously, as it developed, they perhaps started to look at other areas, which they did, and that works well. Can't argue with this at all. So I think a lot of you probably will have seen it, but if you haven't, try and see it. It's easy available everywhere to see. I'm sure you can find it easily to see. Or if not, I'm plugging this again, the box set. Yeah, there's the box set with it in. I said this has all the Carry On films apart from Carry On Columbus. It's a great box set on DVD. Even if we do get the Blu-ray release, which will be great, but it's going to be very expensive, I imagine, if they do all the films. But anyhow, this is good. The quality, I mean, I put this on my TV, 4K TV, and I think it looks great. You know, you can be really happy even with this DVD. The quality is there, yeah, definitely. So that's it. If you're interested in what I'm doing, please subscribe, and we'll let you know when I produce these videos, and you can look back and see what I've produced and think, well, there it is. And if you like it, give it a like as well, because that helps with all algorithms. More people perhaps, you know, see it, and it's all free. It's free. You can't say fairer than that, can you? Yeah, no, you can't. If you have any comments, please put some comments. I love reading your comments. So, all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.